Good morning, good morning, good morning. Hopefully, you guys can hear me okay out there. If you can, just give me a hello, and let me know you're hearing me. Um, Let me make sure. I gotta check mines too, because y'all know me. I always have a tendency to mess up stuff around here. Good morning, everybody. I hope everybody's doing well today. This is part two of mental health. Today, we're going to be obviously touching on mental health a little bit. Uh, we're also going to venture over to mental illness. What is the signs that you are having a mental breakdown, and how do we stop it before it goes overboard? So, thank you guys so much for continuing to support and be a part of this conversation. I'm actually going to let everybody know just right now that I have a few people that want to continue the conversation um, after this. So, what I'm planning on doing is Monday at 11 o'clock, we are going to have a part three on mental health. So, if you guys would like to come through and support and be a part of the conversation, please make sure you guys tune in again on Monday if you're available. Monday at 11 o'clock, we're going to do it again. If somebody would like to come on and be a guest, I already have one guest scheduled to be in the conversation on Monday. But yeah, Monday we will be back at 11 a.m. to continue this topic on mental health, mental illness, and mental warfare as a whole. What I want to do is quickly just give a shout out to my sponsors, real quick. iShotcha.com. Thank you so much for continuing to support me and everything I do. Obviously, if you're in the area, if you need somebody to do some pictures for you, he will get you done right. All you got to do is let him know I sent you. Mr. Marvin Patterson, thank you so much. iShot Icon ENT, one of the best friends that I've known for over 30 years. We ran the streets together, and now we're doing a lot of business work together. Obviously, any of his festivities he's done and events that he goes into, your boy DH is always there. So thank you for continuing to support Icon ENT and Junior Thomas. Last but not least, want to give a huge shout out to my good friend Zakia for continued, excellence in the community with the Chaya movement. If you guys have not heard about the Chai Movement, please look up the thechayamovement.com and check out all the amazing events that she has coming up for the 2023. She's already got a list of things she's working on, and I'm excited to be a part of the journey. So thank you guys so much for continuing to support us. First off, what I want to do is let everybody know that's watching, if you would like to come on as a guest, all you have to do is click the link. I'll go ahead and drop the link in the box for everybody real quick as we're sitting here, and we'll go from there. I have a couple guests in the house, and so I'm going to bring on our guests as well. We have Miss Carmen from Loud and Sophisticated, or is it Sophisticated and Loud? No, it's one. I'm not. I think it's SNL. We're bringing on my sister. I've known her for a little bit, and she's got a lot that she wants to share with us today. So I'm excited about that. And we're going to go ahead and bring my boy Joey back in the building to continue this conversation about mental health and mental illness. So we'll go ahead and bring them on right now. Is it S&L or
S&L, Sophisticated and Loud? You got it.
All right, just making sure I don't want to mess up. My boy Joey's back. Welcome, guys. I appreciate you guys for being here again for the conversation on mental health. How about we do this? Carmen, you said you wanted to tell us a little bit about your journey and some of the things that helped you get to where you are today. Why don't I go ahead and open the floor to you so we can hear a little bit about yourself.
Okay. I'm 53 years old, and I've been a private person all my life. Mm-hmm. And so therefore, as I was growing up, mental illness wasn't really heard of, let alone thought of. I have a lot of childhood traumas, which, time I feel plays a part in, getting that person to the right state of mind. Because during the course of my childhood trauma, I waited until I was an adult to get that therapy. And so from my early adulthood, I started therapy. And I found back then, I really can't tell you, what I really thought about mental illness, because like I said, it was barely heard of. All I know is that I had to go to, I needed to talk to somebody. During the course of that, after having therapists, when I first had my first psychiatrist, that's when I realized, okay, something's wrong, and at that time, I'm like, there's something wrong with me, okay, because those were the thoughts that I was having. So I started talking to the psychiatrist, and the psychiatrist prescribed me medication. Now, during the course of all this, I did a little research to understand that mental illness doesn't always have to come from a traumatic experience. It can be also a chemical imbalance. And so I was put on medication, and during the course of, my 20s, my 30s, my 40s, I was just living life, okay, as I thought it, as I thought it should be.
Right.
And it wasn't until I started checking my thoughts. I was having thoughts that, I felt like nobody else was having. And then next thing you know, like I was explaining to David, I'm diagnosed with PTSD, major depression, and bipolar. And just recently, I'm diagnosed with anxiety. So there's a whole lot to go into, my situation. But what I can say is that, I'm 53 years old, and I'm finally starting to accept myself. And that includes my mental health, my mental illnesses, and me as a person.
Absolutely.
And finding out that I'm not a bad person.
Not at all.
You know what I mean? I've been in therapy for over 30 something years. I know my triggers. That's definitely, people, places, and things, just like in, any type of, Narcotics Anonymous or whatever, people, places, and things, you need to stay away from them. Anything, I'm an overthinker anyway. If you want to add that to the mental illness, go ahead. So being an overthinker combined with the thoughts of my mental illness, okay, I have to work extra hard to stay away from people, places, and things, because I know the least little thing will trigger me.
Absolutely. Let me ask you something, Carmen. You asked me a question before we got online. I want you to ask Joey the same question you just asked me.
Okay.
About mental illness.
Well, Joey, how do you feel about yourself now that, your mental illness is on the table, your mental health is on the table? Have you fully and truly accepted yourself?
Gosh, that's a beautiful question. The fact that I have to hesitate about it, I guess I would say no, because this is something that I will live with this forever, for the rest of my life. This is my normal. This is my, and so struggling with mental health and mental illness and those triggers and those people, places, and things that you know, and trying to recognize I'm always going to be running in that race with you.
Mhm.
You know, I don't know who I will. You know, I will learn to love myself again every single day.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
maybe not right where I am in this moment, but I will, yes, learn to love everything about myself every day that I am here. You know, if that makes
It
sense.
definitely takes time. I'm
Yeah.
talking years. Okay.
Mhm.
Like for me,
Right.
close to 30 years.
Hmm. Hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
this is
So
not something that you can turn off and turn on.
Right.
You know, it's there with you every second of every millisecond of every second of every moment of every
Yeah.
day.
Yeah.
Okay, this is something that we eat, sleep. Mental health and not mental health. Mental illness is like death. Okay,
yes,
you have to grieve.
yes,
Mhm.
yes.
And
Grieve. Oh, that's such a beautiful way to describe.
a
Yes, you
person
have to
who
grieve.
is grieving has to grieve, has their own process.
Yeah.
Okay, like whereas for me, I'm not cured. Okay, I'm not
No.
cured. I'm never going to be cured. But it's like death. That person that, you know, just passed away, you're missing. Well, you know what? That feeling's never going to go away. And
Right.
you just have to learn how to live with it.
Mhm.
You
Absolutely.
can't discard it. You know, every second of every day is a struggle.
Yeah.
Yes,
And
yes.
that's why it is more so necessary now for us to really not just, you know, do a show here, do a show there, or, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
In Sophisticated and Loud's group, I opened up a chat specifically for anybody who needs to talk.
Absolutely.
My
Yes.
moderators are monitoring that specific chat. There's always somebody who's going to be in that chat and respond.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So, you know, it's a shame what happened to Twitch. Okay?
Absolutely.
Like you said, you don't never know what people are going through.
Never know.
But,
Mhm.
you know, for him, or should I say for anybody, you know, if you don't
Yeah.
truly understand what mental illness means, you're never going to get it. Because I
Mhm.
guarantee you, if it was you or one of your family members going through the different levels of mental illness and you watch it, you would change your thinking. You
Mhm.
would definitely change your thinking towards people that have mental illness because sometimes it's something that cannot be controlled.
Well, and you know, I want to say too, not to interrupt you, but mental illness. Because when when we say the words mental illness,
Mhm.
I don't think that that it is the definition is hitting everyone the same. So, for
Mhm.
instance, when we say mental illness, we mean the things that lead up to the symptoms, if you will, that
Okay.
lead up to our we are recognizing what are our symptoms, triggers, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, so that we don't reach this boiling point up here, you know?
Right.
So
Mhm.
that's the illness is coming, but we need to make it better.
Yeah.
Now, see, like you
Okay?
just said, everybody is different. Now, see, for me, when I say mental illness, that's exactly what I mean. It's an illness.
Mhm.
Okay. It's
Yeah.
like
So
cancer. It's like diabetes. It's like, because at the end of the day, if you can't control it, you got to get on medication to, it's not a medication, let me say, is not an end all cure all.
Right.
Okay. It's just to balance.
mhm,
It's just to have that balance so you can live as normally
Mhm.
as possible. Because a
mhm,
person with mental illness will never live normally.
Right.
but they can. It's definitely possible too. And with the mental illnesses that I have, I've graduated college at the age of 53. I got sophisticated and loud, so I'm doing things, but it took years.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I feel that. Feel it. My everything started at 5 years old. 5 years old, I knew that there was something just innately different about me, and I could not explain it why, but I was born female. And so for the first 20 years of my life, because I grew up in an incredibly traditional Catholic family, like nuns in full habit, I went to boarding school, Latin mass, like you could say mass in my house because we had an altar in a tabernacle. Anyway, all the things. And so I learned to internalize all of my feelings, all of this stuff that I was hating about myself, and I can't tell anyone because I'm going to be ostracized. And I'm 5 years old. I'm 5 years old, and I already have it heavy on my brain. If I release this to the people that I love the most, I will die, whether they kill me or I kill myself. That's what's going to happen. And so I learned to internalize all that. When I had my first crush at 6 years old, I didn't tell anyone, no one, not even any friends, nothing, because my whole existence was, if I say this out loud, I will die, someone will kill me, or I will kill myself. So I needed to survive. And the only way I could do that was to just don't talk about those things. If I'm excited I had to learn how to turn my face off when I'm having crushes on girls in high school and things. I fell in love in high school, and then got my heart broken into a million tiny pieces, and I couldn't tell anyone. Literally thought I was going insane because I couldn't do it. All I could do was laugh. I could just laugh and cry, and that was it. And so I conditioned myself for 20 years of my life to do that, to shut it off. I'm 36 now, and I am just now scratching the surface of reach out to me if you need me, Joey. I'm here for you. David has saved my life. Nicole has saved my life. So many people that I have met online have saved my life when they didn't even realize that they did. You know what I mean? And now I am at this point in my life now. And like I said, just very recently, I'm 36. And it's just been within the last year that I'm like, you know what? Wow. Now I can see. Now I can see. And like you said, it can't just be a today conversation. It can't just be, you know what I mean? Like it's because there's just so many people, and you just, like I said this yesterday, you just don't know, because you see Joey and I'm doing funny things and I'm singing karaoke and all these things. But when I turn off that camera, I might have just fallen to pieces and cried all over the place. You know what I mean? Like, so, and it's a struggle every single day. We're not, all of us, we're not going to stop struggling once the camera goes off. You know what I mean? All these humans in here that are watching us now, they're not going to stop struggling when the camera goes off. So every day. And like David, I thought it was so beautiful when you challenged all of us to reach out to somebody that you haven't spoken to, all these things. I've been trying to reach out to humans that I haven't seen in decades, even ones from high school that know me as somebody before. But you know what? You just, it's so important. You just don't know. I cannot be passionate enough about that, because my life has been saved by humans, and I didn't even realize that they saved my life until after the fact.
The fact that you didn't have nobody, how did that feel? Did that feel like, someone had their hand, you couldn't talk? So everything that you've done, everything that you thought, everything that you wanted to say, you internalized it. Did it feel like someone had their hands around your neck and they was squeezing the breath out of you? Because that's the way I felt. Like, that's the way I feel when I don't have no one to talk to, or my therapy appointment is, too far away. I I start to like, my chest starts to tighten, and now I have to find something to mindset too. Mindset is a woo. So I have to find things to do to occupy my time when I'm in that mindset, you know, and it's important, also very important, to have a support network that can understand. You know what I mean? Or should I say, who is willing to understand the ups and downs, and, you know, it is willing to learn, you know, how to deal with people with mental illnesses, because we're difficult people to deal with. We have our own mindset. We do what we want to do, whether it's right, wrong, or indifferent, you know, but our mindset. The one thing that I can say, and I don't want to do no division, but with the amount of therapy that I've had, I can honestly say that I can distinguish my symptoms. I can distinguish when I'm sad versus being depressed. I can, you know, distinguish if I'm happy versus having a manic episode. You know what I mean? So it takes years on top of years, work on top of work. And for me, I say, let's do this. By all means, if we can do episodes because of celebrities, we got people in our own backyard.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? We got people in our own backyard who has the same things that we have going on. You know what I mean? And see, with the celebrities, they got the financial support to get the therapy. You know what I'm saying? We don't have that. So why can't we come together for our people in our own yard?
Absolutely. I think for me, I just want, because I totally get what you were saying about not just all of a sudden wanting to do this because of a celebrity that went through a situation. For me, I don't know if Shantae told you, but we did an episode before about mental health and mental illness, because I was actually finally getting to a place where I realized I have a problem here. Because I've always been, a lot of people know me. I'm a real chill dude. I always have a good time. Like, I don't let a whole lot of stuff get to me. But the one thing that has always plagued me in my life that I never really thought could create mental illness was relationships with my significant others. And a lot of it is caused because of myself. You know, which we was talking about this yesterday when it comes to mental illness. A lot of it is the arguments and fights with your own mind about the things that you know are the right things to do, but you're doing the things over here, and you got this person over here say, come on over here. This is where you need to be. Forget about being happy and socializing and be with everybody. Let's go in the dark place and do all these things that we shouldn't be doing.
Good angel.
Constant battles with ourselves. I mean, you know, for me, once I seen it, I had already known this was something that I really know we need to discuss on. I had a conversation with one of my homeboys, Lionel. Anyways, my homeboy went to high school with. We was having a conversation about this a few days ago, about this same thing, mental health, and how he's going through it mentally, doing really well, living in Cali, you know, doing stand-up comedy, doing really well for himself, but he's having all these fights within himself about all the things that these, you know, those dark moments when he's on stage, shines like a bright light. When I'm on stage, like a bright light. But when we get off that stage,
That's what we were saying earlier, you know, like your mental illness can affect how you feel and think about yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it just is.
Absolutely. So let me ask y'all a question, since you know I got your guys' attention. You guys are great guests.
Oh,
y'all make it easy on me. I mean, I don't have to say much. But so can mental illness only be cured? Because I know, Carmen, you had mentioned that you had to get help, like medically get help in order to, you know, get to a place where you can get it under control.
Mm-hmm.
Joey, are you the same way? Did you get anything?
I not for a long time. I got on medication more like probably within the last, I don't know, 8 years or so. But before that, because all I knew how to do was internalize. So I've lived my whole life and when you were asking me, Carmen, about if it feels like someone has their hands on your throat, for me, it feels like I am holding my breath. And if I let my breath go, like if I let out my breath, if I don't hold my breath, everything's going to come to the front, because I'm like, you can see I have like my face says a lot, you know, so you know, and so in those moments when my heart is like breaking, and the last thing I want someone to do is come up to me and be like, are you okay? Is something wrong? And then I'm like, I got to run away, you know? So, but so it's like, it feels like I have to hold my breath until my face is blue.
Yes.
And then finally I'm like, okay, now I have control of that emotion, and I'm going to swallow it now. Nobody knows about it. I wash my hands of it. Let me move about my day, you know? So, but I do not recommend that.
No, not at all.
It's heavy. So, luckily, once I realized that I needed to bring Joey to the front, I started writing very, very heavy, and I wrote for over 13 years. I just wrote and wrote, and because I also have PTSD, and so I will have images, and something will trigger it. Music doesn't matter, and it will play like a reel in my head, and so I'll be staring, and you know, I'm not present because this is happening. I'm playing a movie
into your own little world. Yes, into your own little zone. So I call mine Carmen's world. Carmen's world. Anybody that's in Carmen's world does what Carmen does what Carmen wants. Carmen's world. I step out of y'all reality, and I step into my own reality, and that gives me comfort.
Yes, it oddly does.
And I'm gonna tell you what I just did too. I had a chance to talk to my PCP about maybe 3 or 4 days ago, and because I know my symptoms, I called her to ask her to write me a prescription for some mood altering, so I can have that equal balance. So now I'm on Prozac. Okay. I did that because not so much for myself, but I know I am a difficult person to other people. Okay. So I did it to give other people a break and to, you know, say, look, Carmen, it's time for you to check yourself because you're starting to get too out of pocket. But like I said, it goes back to, it takes years. And it takes a lot of work to want to look at yourself, because when I was doing the other show, I had a fear. It was a fear in me that I wouldn't even look at the podcast because I wasn't feeling right about me.
Interesting.
And like you wouldn't go back and watch it?
And
Like you wouldn't go back to watch yourself, you mean?
I wouldn't. I wouldn't, because I didn't feel, like I didn't feel like I was good enough.
Wow.
I didn't feel like I was good enough or I was worthy to be seen. And
Yeah.
now SNL, the podcast that I do, I'm funny as shit.
Right. Thank you. That's what I've been saying about myself.
Okay. And I can watch myself, I can listen to myself and be like, oh, okay, well, you need to work on this, or, oh, girl, you got that going on.
Right.
But it takes years. And right now, I'm in a good space. I might not be in the same space an hour from now, but for the moment, I'm in a great place.
All right, real quick, guys, before I don't mean to interrupt anybody, but real quick, anybody that is watching, as long as you guys are here, if you guys would like to share it out so that other people can get involved in the conversation, please do. If you guys have any questions for either one of my guests or for myself, please go ahead and drop them in a box. We are keeping tabs on any questions that come through, and I will be asking them to our guests today. So real quick, I got a question for the both of you guys, and it's mental health versus mental illness. Obviously, when we all have stories, and Carmen, you kind of jumped in and shared yours today. Joey, you shared a little bit about yours yesterday. But what is one thing that you guys remember that trigger that said, I'm not right? What I'm doing right now isn't me. I'm gonna give you mine. I'll start because y'all been starting, and so I'll just go ahead and get mine.
Yes, we got you, David.
I never experienced anything mentally, as far as mental illness went. I never knew what it was. I heard about it. I had a daughter that dealt with anxiety all through high school. She never felt like she was enough. So she got moved to 3 different high schools just to try and get through it, because she always felt like people were talking down about her and treating her unfairly. And so I knew a little bit about anxiety. But mentally, y'all know I block out everything. I'm a chill dude. I don't really think about it deep until this year. I got into a relationship with somebody, and I still remember getting really so upset because I broke up with this girl, but then she didn't want to talk to me after we broke up. And so I got into this big old war with myself about, you broke up with her. Why are you still trying to talk to her? No, you need to go and talk to her because she still wants to, hang out with you. And so I got into this. I was driving home one day from going to her house, and I started to breathe. Like you guys said, the breathing part, I just couldn't breathe right. Something just didn't feel right. And I just started crying and I couldn't breathe. And I was like, yo, something isn't right. And so I called my daughter, like I was saying yesterday, like my oldest daughter is the one that I lean on when I need somebody to talk to. And so I called her up and I was talking to her, and I was like, I don't know what's going on. I think I'm about to have a breakdown or something. And she was like, pull over, let's talk. And so talk me through it. So I would say for me, when I realized that mentally there was something unbalanced when it came to me at the moment, I would say that was my moment where I was like, there's something wrong with you. We got to get it back together. Either we need to talk to some people, stay in contact with people, and not be alone, because the dark moments are the worst moments for me. I don't know if that's the same with y'all, but dark moments, dark nights, I always have these thoughts. And I always want to do things that I know I shouldn't be doing. Like I want to drive to the lake. And anybody knows that my story always it starts in 2018, driving to the lake. I don't know how to swim, so the lake drive is is me basically saying that this is going to be my last stop.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so
Mm-hmm.
you know, I have these moments at night a lot, and so I have to call somebody, or I send a message on Facebook saying, please somebody reach out to me and talk to me so that I'm not alone. I mean, I don't know what the trigger was for you guys, but that was mine, was this
Mm-hmm.
relationship that I knew I shouldn't be in, but then at the same
Mm-hmm.
time I couldn't get away from it. So
Mm-hmm.
I had a constant battle with myself about whether
Mm-hmm.
this was good for me or not.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't know, when it comes to my mental illness, it probably ignited and became something that's in the forefront for me at that moment in my life. So
Mm-hmm.
what would you guys say for yours? I mean, obviously mine is
So
relationships and how horrible I am with them.
it might not be you though.
Oh, it's
Me,
definite.
am I the villain? Am I the villain? I'm not the villain.
Well, I mean, you know, it sometimes that just it's just not the person. You know what I'm saying? It's like
Mm-hmm.
everybody comes into your life to leave something, and the letting go part has always been the toughest. You know,
Mm-hmm.
for me. So yeah, that was mine.
I
So
think for me, moving to Washington was my pivotal point in like really, really having to understand what's going on with me, because I had a lot of situations down here since I've been down here that
mm,
has took my thoughts to places that I never thought I would actually go. And the
mm,
one thing that I am finding out is no matter what thoughts you have, you still have to hold yourself accountable for your thoughts.
right, right,
Okay.
yeah,
And holding myself accountable is, like I said, reaching out to someone who understands,
mm,
calling your doctor. If you feel like you need medicine, get on medicine, you know, whatever it takes. If you're willing to do that, that's also a part of self care.
yeah,
You know, it's also part of self-care where, you know, okay, I'm taking care of not only, you know, my emotional needs, my sexual needs, my financial needs, but I'm also taking care of my mental health.
mm,
And taking care of your mental health, because your brain controls everything.
it really does.
It controls everything. And if your mind ain't right, you ain't right.
You ain't right. Facts.
Mhm.
I may want to. You may want to patent that.
I
Right.
will.
Your
I
mind
will.
ain't right.
I
You
will.
ain't right.
There you
Take a
go. There
picture,
you
write
go.
it
And
down.
it takes, and I'm going to constantly and consistently say it takes time. It
Right.
takes work. You have to want to hear, not need to hear, but you're going to have to want to hear the good, bad, and the ugly
Yeah,
about
absolutely.
you.
Facts.
This is when
Facts.
you have to come to terms with who you are and make that decision on what type of person you want to be. For me, once I made that decision, I made a plan on how I was going to get to that point.
Mhm.
Right.
And I got to that point. And now I'm just doing what I know to do. You
Mm.
know, therapy has taught me, you know, it's all about you, because at the end of the day, at the beginning of the day, it starts with you. And at the end of the day, it ends with you.
Mhm. Facts.
Yes.
Facts.
So I'm gonna answer that your question real quick because someone put another question up here. I don't want to get to their question,
Absolutely.
but just very quickly, for me, I will say, I knew at 5 years old that there was something. That there was
Wow.
something. I remember at 5 years old, it's in my book actually. My special place is what I would call it, but it was the bathroom because it was the only private place that I had in the entire room where no one could just walk in on me. No, I mean they could because there was like 13 kids in the house, but that's neither here nor there. It
Mhm.
was my most private place, and
Yeah.
that's where I would go to sit, and I would talk to myself and my other selves, in the bathroom, and I would cry and I would get it all out so that I could go back out into the family, you know, and be fine. But I'll also say, another defining moment for me, once I became Joey, was a girl that I met in college who asked me one day. She said, "Have you ever felt like you were born in the wrong body?" And I was like, how did you know that? You know what I mean? Like, this is something I have never said out loud to anyone. And that was it. I just looked at her and I finally felt like, okay, I'm gonna tell you. And it all just came
like a sigh of relief.
Just all came out. And that was my defining moment. Like, okay, this is gonna be the rest of my life. I'm gonna deal with this for the rest of my life. And I'm gonna have to take the steps I need to take in order to survive and be healthy and you know, that kind of thing. So those two were my moments.
Good deal. So let's go ahead and get to this question. I'll go ahead and highlight it for Adrian.
And hello everyone. I'm sorry, I do see you.
Yeah. It says, how do you guys feel about treatment of others when it comes to how people with mental health treat other people who don't deal with it themselves? Compartmentalize. I don't know how to say that word, bro. Like Adrian, say it again.
Compartmentalizing
your reactions and emotions toward those who don't truly understand what we go through.
The treatment of others.
You know, I got an answer.
Yes, you go on, because I'm gonna mold this question.
You know, I got an answer, and Adrian, you can correct me if I'm wrong on getting the understanding of the question. But you know what? It's not about the people who don't understand. You know, it's not our place to make them understand. We already got enough on our plates trying to, you know, maintain sanity 24 hours a day. You know what I mean? So it's not up to us to make anybody understand. There's more research. There's more, you know, anything that you want to find out about a mental illness or mental health, you can do so.
Absolutely.
You can also sit down with a person who has mental illness and get it straight, you know, get it straight. Mm-hmm. You know, this is what we go through, but you got to be willing to listen. You got to want to listen. You got to want to hear. Because see me.
Well, okay. I want to play devil's advocate for a minute.
Real quick. Don't mean to interrupt. We do have another guest that just popped on.
Okay.
I'm gonna go ahead and bring Shay in. She's in the waiting room, so we'll go ahead and add her to the conversation.
Okay.
What up, Shay? How you doing?
I'm doing okay. How are you?
Good.
We're doing well up in here. We're doing well up here. We're talking about mental health and mental illness.
I have been watching.
Is there something that you wanted to share with us?
Man, there's a lot that comes with it. Myself personally, I fell into a very dark place in the last couple years. Just dealing with a lot, especially as, you know, a mom and somebody who works 24/7. And I have a child who, you know, 15-year-old daughter who's a lesbian, and she deals with her own mental situations. And I have a son who, he's also transgender. So Joey, he's been messaging me watching this whole thing. He's really feeling your story because, like you, he was born female and his transition has been crazy, but I'm so proud of him. And honestly,
you reach out and
we've talked. Yes. So it's, you know, that there's a lot that comes with it. I asked one of my friends to join today because my friend, he's in here, Big Herc. He promotes mental health and mental awareness. And I'm actually wearing one of his hoodies that says, "I am enough."
Absolutely. Shout out to him. Shout out to that.
Right. So like you, Joey, when I fell into this dark place a few months ago, there was a lot going on. And, you know, I ended up ending a 14-year relationship. I tried to find something that makes me happy. And karaoke did that, and coming out and meeting David and meeting you and anybody else that we go with when we're out at karaoke, you know, you just kind of let yourself go with those songs, and then you go home and you return to the real life. So, you know, there's a lot. Myself, I have anxiety really bad. I'm on medication for it. So I feel where all you guys are coming from. And I just wanted to join the conversation because, Joey, like I said, I have a son who goes through the same things that you go through with being transgender. I have, you know, relations with the anxiety and the depression and trying to grow out of it. So you guys, if you see me in public, you probably see me in these type of hoodies all the time. I have like 3 different colors that says I am enough, because I am, you know?
Yeah.
Definitely.
So Shay, let me ask you a question. I don't mean to interrupt you, but let me ask you a question. How do you deal with those times when you get to the house after, you know, going out to the after party and you start to have those moments where you're just like not feeling like, you know, yourself and something's going on? How do you deal with your moments, your dark moments?
It's not easy, I'll tell you that much. Like almost every day when I pull up at my house, I literally sit in my car for 15, 20 minutes. Just that's me decompressing, whether it's coming home from work or coming home from doing karaoke. I have to sit in my car for 15, 20 minutes just to decompress, because I know the minute I walk in the house, it's, Mom, I need this. Mom, I need that. What's for dinner? What are you doing? You know, can I have this? When do you get paid? Like just consistent children and relations, and just everybody. I feel like everybody wants from me. So I got to take that time to myself. So whether it's sitting in my car for 15, 20 minutes, I love bodies of water. I'll drive to, you know, the waterfront and just sit there and gaze off into the water and just watch the waves hit. It's just, that's fine. It's finding peace. You got to find that peace within yourself to make yourself happy.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
That,
And
right.
you said that, Shay, and that is so true for me. You can't find peace with no one else if you're all balled up inside. And that's my thing, trying to find that inner peace. Because if I have that inner peace, everybody around me will be peaceful.
Right. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah. Well, okay. So I want to kind of circle back to that question that someone had asked. I think it was Adrian.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to play. I want to give a sort of a different perspective on the other side. I feel like it is like we do have a responsibility to educate people who don't suffer from mental illness or those types of things. I think it's important that like this type of thing that we're doing now, I'm sure that there will be humans that will watch this that, you know, maybe had nothing about it and just were like, you know what, I'm just going to listen to this just because, and changes their whole perspective and their whole perception, because mental illness and mental health even now is still something that people walk around, you know what I mean? They walk on eggshells around it. They avoid it like the plague. Nobody wants to, but like, for instance, for being transgender, I want to be as open and raw and real, and this is what happens, and this is what I feel like, and these are the things that I am thinking. And so, you know, like, this is what happens. This is what happens to me. Like, I want you to see it. I want you to hear it. I want you to feel it. You know what I mean? In the most raw and pure way that you can, because in some way, another human has felt these emotions and these intense feelings, but in a different circumstance. And they maybe didn't realize, like, oh my gosh, that's actually mental illness, or that's actually something that I need to look at inside myself. Somebody who never even thought, you know what I mean, that they ever had any type of mental health issue or any of those types of things.
I'm sorry to cut you off, Joey, but I agree with you. I guess it's like a play on words, like educating. I think people with mental illness, trying to educate someone on mental illness, that's putting a lot of pressure on. You know what I mean? That's putting a lot of pressure on that person. Plus what they're already going through. Okay, if you
have someone like me, you know what I mean, and I am, that's not pressure for me. You know what I mean? That for me is yes, pull it out of me. I want you to draw it out of me. you know?
Mhm.
Well, here's my take on that. So just recently, I'm not going to mention no names, but I had a friend who was messaging me telling me that he was going through some things. And I was like, you can talk to me. That's what friends are for. It's for, friends are here for you to vent to them and tell them what you have going on. I have a hard time during the holidays. My birthday is coming up. I don't really celebrate my birthday because of things that I've been through. So I already have a lot going on during the holiday season and dealing with loss and depression and stuff like that. So, and my friend knows this. And so he is like, I don't want to burden you more with my problems, knowing that you already deal with stuff during the holidays. I told my friend, don't worry about what I have going on because I have other people who help carry my burdens for me. Me, as your friend, it is my responsibility to help you carry your burdens, even when I'm dealing with my own. That's how you help people get through that mental state of feeling like they have nobody to talk to. And he literally told me, I don't want you to carry my burdens. That's what I'm here for. I'm here as your friend to help carry that weight and lift that weight off your shoulders.
That right there, that's what I'm talking about. And I think that's where the miscommunication came from. Because I'm not saying that you're wrong, Joey. I'm not saying
No. I get it.
What I'm saying is that if you want to be that person to sit down and talk, we can do that. But I'm not going to sit down and educate you on anything.
No.
Right.
I'm going to always be that friend that you can talk to whenever.
But right. If you feel like you're going through something, shoot me a text message, call me. Let me know that you have something going on so I can help lift that weight off your shoulders. I have other people that's going to lift my weight. I'm going to help you lift yours.
But I'm not going to educate you on anything.
But what about those times where because like I said, I've always internalized everything. For me, you could tell me until you're blue in the face, reach out to me. Let me know when you're struggling. Let me know when you need something, Joey. Like, don't go through, you're not alone. Don't go through this alone, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But when I am there, I have no desire, no motivation to even pick up the phone to reach out to anyone. And so for me, if I can talk about it and let someone know, you know what I mean? Yes, I will. Yes, I realize that there are people who will sit with me to carry this burden, but it's so heavy. I don't even want to move to call someone to come and help me out with it. You know what I mean? Like, but I don't necessarily even need someone to just talk to me or hear me talk or any of those things. Sometimes I just want to sit and stare at the wall and not be alone. So if you sit and stare at the wall with me, we don't have to say a damn word.
Exactly.
You don't have to tell me anything that you're struggling with if you don't want to. I will be here to be a silent energy.
But you see we're all saying the same thing. But right. I'm still going to say that I'm not going to educate anybody, because when you educating somebody, you're trying to teach them something. And I'm not a teacher nor an educator. Okay.
Right.
However, I can sit down and give you my experience, something that I've been through, and something, something real and something tangible. I'm not a therapist. I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm not a clinician. Okay. I can just give you my experience, strength, and hope.
All right. So this is my thoughts on educating on mental health and mental illness. I don't think there's anyone that can educate any of us on our mental illnesses, because we all have different mental illnesses that have different definitions. I mean, yeah, any therapist can say whatever they want. Any clinician can say whatever they want. No, that sounds great and fine and big words and all this and that, but just because they say that doesn't mean that's what's going on inside of my life,
right.
Inside of your life. Only one that can educate us on our mental illness is us. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, it's not about education. To me, I think, Joey, you said something, and I really want us all to just have an answer to this question. But those dark moments when you don't want to reach out and you don't want to talk to anybody, how do we prevent it from getting to that point? Because those are the points where we're seeing people make these steps into no return? How do we prevent ourselves from getting to that place of no return? That's why we're talking now. So what do we have to do to not get to that point? Because I get to those points and I've been very on top of it, so it didn't get past that level. There's been a couple times where I've been really close, and I'm just keeping it 100. A couple of y'all, I mean, obviously, Shay, we've had some conversations, and obviously, we all go through these things.
Mhm.
But how do we prevent it from getting to a place where it's the point of no return? What if
We're doing
each
it right
of
now.
you done in your situations?
So in my case, I have people. I have two very important people in my life that I call them my persons. If it gets to a point that they know, like they know everything about me, okay? So if I fall into a deep dark hole, they're already knowing that I'm getting ready to fall in that hole before I fall into that hole. I have these people that surround me that understand me as a person and me as a character. If they're sending me text messages or calling me and I'm not answering, they automatically know something's up. They'll show up at my house. They'll bang on my door. They'll track my phone if they have to. Like it's having those people around you that know who you are as a person and where your mentality is at 100%. Like Joey, you said, sometimes you get to a point where you don't want to make that phone call. Okay.
Mhm.
I got to a point one time where I didn't want to make a phone call. Luckily, I had somebody in my house. I literally just sank, like my whole brain just went down and I was ready to get in my car and drive into a brick wall. Okay. And I get in my car and I'm getting ready to drive off and my son follows me out to my car and he jumps in and he said, if you die, I die. And it literally, that stopped me. It stopped me from doing anything stupid because me putting my life on the line is one thing, but putting somebody else's life on the line is a whole nother story. And that saved my life, literally saved my life. And luckily, I've had these people around me that they know if I'm not responding to a text message or I'm not calling them back immediately or whatever the case is, they're like, okay, something's up with Shay. I got to show up.
Mhm.
But
Right.
let me ask, I'm gonna take it a little bit further, Shay, because we don't always have anybody.
Right.
Like, I could easily get off the line with you guys. I'm here by myself. Ain't nobody here. And this conversation could get me to a place where I'm just like over it. What do you do when you're by yourself with these emotions and these thoughts of, doing something drastic to end it all? What do you do? What is one thing that do you reach out to somebody? Do you, turn on a song, your favorite song? Do you read your favorite passage? Do you jump in the Bible? What do you do when you get to those points?
I write and I read the things that I have already written over and over, and I allow myself to feel that darkness. And Barbara, who is on here, my fiance who's on here, she actually is one person who said something to me. She said, sit and feel it, but don't unpack there. Don't unpack there. Allow yourself to feel those emotions. Cry, ugly cry. I mean, you know what I mean? Like I said, I cry. I sit by myself and I cry, and then I read my writings, and then my brain starts to go and I start writing something, and then I read it over and over and over again until I'm like, okay. And I'm so exhausted from crying that I just sleep. And that for me, in maybe a weird way or dark way, if you will, is cleansing. I have to let myself feel it. I have to.
Absolutely. Everybody that's watching too, shout out to you guys for continuing to support and comment. I see all the comments. Thank you guys so much for being a part of the conversation. I'm asking all of you guys the same question. Drop your answer in the comment box so we can all get something from it. We can all learn about each other. Maybe there's something that we don't know that could help us moving forward, or maybe we're saying something that could help you guys. Let's continue to reach out and help each other during this conversation. We're going to do this. We're going to finish this question and then we're going to finish with our last passage and call it a day. We have been going for an hour. I have to pick up my son. And so
Yeah, I'm like, what time is it? Oh God,
I gotta
have I had
keep it
breakfast
real with
yet?
you guys. It's Daddy Duty Day,
Right.
but we're going to see Santa, by the way. But yeah, we're gonna finish this question, and then I'll finish with the last passage, and then we're gonna get back on for part 3 on Monday at the same time. So if you guys want to be a part of the conversation on Monday, we're gonna continue this conversation. It's not gonna stop here, and it's not gonna stop Monday. We're gonna continue doing it as long as it needs to be done, because it has been put on the shelves for long enough. It's time for us to make this important and make this a daily conversation that can help all of us, I mean, because we're all going through it, so
Definitely.
next person, whoever wants to answer, go for it.
I hold myself accountable for my thoughts.
Mhm.
If I think something, I'm not the impulsive person, but I can be. I know my triggers. If the therapist tells me to do something, I do it. Self-care. I know when I get to, and I was recently in a very dark place, but like I said, I had to hold myself accountable for my thoughts, because realizing that sometimes it's not me thinking, it's actually my brain thinking for me. And I have to be accountable for my thoughts. And I think on that note, that's the time and the accountability for your mental illness. You have to be accountable for it. You have it. You have to figure out your triggers, and then you can hold yourself accountable for your thoughts.
Absolutely. So did you want to say something, Shay?
So in my case, I honestly just try to keep myself busy. If I start feeling myself falling into a dark place, I try not, first of all, being at home, and around my children helps, because my children are always there, and just seeing their faces and, hearing the mom, I love you, mom, can we watch a movie? Mom, can we spend time together? That's enough for me. If I feel like the home life isn't doing what I needed to do, I find outlets. So like Adrian, my best friend, just said, music, karaoke, stuff like that, going out and being with my friends and the people that I know care about me as much as I care about them. Those are my outlets. Those are the things that make me happy. And when you're in a dark place, going out and finding that happiness and keeping yourself busy is my ultimate go-to when I do fall into that dark place and fight those demons in my brain telling me, you can't do this. No, I got this.
Absolutely great answer. All right, so we're going to do final words real quick. Anything that you guys would like to touch on when it comes to mental health versus mental illness? We'll start with Joey.
I you know what? Honestly, all I want to say is, I said it yesterday. Just be better today than you were yesterday. Be better today than you were yesterday. And remember, if you are watching this, you woke up today. If you are watching this, maybe you haven't got out of bed yet, but your eyes are open and you are breathing and you are alive and you matter. And I love you.
Yeah.
That's a good one. All right, Carmen.
Okay. I'm gonna just leave it, reach out. Reach out. A stranger is the perfect person to reach out to. If you feel like you can't talk to your family, your friends, reach out to a stranger. Reach out to somebody, because at the end of the day, it starts with you and it ends with you.
Absolutely. Facts. All right, Shay.
I'm going to feed a little bit off of what Carmen said. Definitely reach out. I saw a comment where somebody said that not everybody has a random person can be your person, honestly. I feel like I have better vibes with people that I met 4 months ago, like David, than I do with people who I've known for 20 or 30 years. So honestly, just going out and meeting new people and engaging in new personalities and getting to know people and let it, like them just knowing that you have somebody to talk to, that's the best way to go, honestly. So if you don't have a person, find a person. It could be some random person on the street, random person at karaoke, random person at a restaurant. Talk to your waiters. I mean, honestly, any person that'll listen will listen and will be there for you, and it will really help your mental.
Also, my inbox on Facebook, Carmen Finest Wine Williams, my inbox is always open. So no judgment zone.
Absolutely. I mean, so, hey, you know what? I don't really have a whole lot to say because you guys have said all the things that I wanted to get on. I mean, love yourself. I mean, for me, love yourself. Yeah. Know your triggers. Find a positive in each negative because there's always a positive in every negative. Those dark moments, never let them win. I mean, you know exactly what's inside of you, what works versus what doesn't work. Find the things that make you happy. It could be something simple as, like Shay was saying, go to the lake and just being at one with nature. I mean, you know, we sing, obviously we love to sing, or it could be doing exactly what we're doing, jumping online and just talking about whatever, you know what I'm saying? Find it. I mean, you don't have to, you know, be stuck in that dark place forever.
David, there was a question up top. I don't know if you wanted to answer that before we go, but somebody said, how do you deal with depression and missing someone for the holiday?
Who? Where's it at? Did I miss it? Okay, Ellen. Ellen said, how can you deal with depression and miss someone for the holiday? You just said that. Shoot. Somebody want to shoot it real quick?
I will. I was telling David last night, the holidays are really hard for me, as is my birthday, which is next Friday. I lost someone really close to me who was battling depression. She got really drunk and drove her car into a tree. And my birthday hasn't been the same since. And there was a lot of loss that's gone in the last couple of years in my family. So I really don't do much during the holidays, or I don't like celebrating my birthday. And sometimes, again, it just comes back to having people around you who love you and support you and are like, you know what? You're not just going to sit in the house and cry on your birthday. You're not just going to sit in your house and cry on Christmas. We're going to surround you with people who love you. So just knowing that you have other people who are there for you is literally the best way to go.
Absolutely. For sure. Anybody want to touch on anybody else?
I think also if you don't have that support, sometimes you're just going to have to make yourself. It comes down, sometimes it does come down to just making yourself because you don't have that kind of strength. Yeah. So make yourself, you know, do something, whatever it may be. Just if you don't have the strength, you still have to make yourself do it because it will pull you down, and pull you down. So,
yep, absolutely. Joey, anything you want to say on that?
Honestly, I like I said, I allow myself to feel sad about it, and then I love for them. I just try to love for them during the holiday season, especially because it can rip you apart very quickly, but try to think of it as they wouldn't want you to be sad for them, especially during the holidays. You know what I mean? So love for them. That
Barbara, I'm sorry, that was my bad. Were you saying something else? I didn't mean that
was it. That's what I would do.
I do apologize, man. Barbara just said something that I was going to finish with. You know, when it came to that question of missing someone, she said you highlight all of the favorite moments with that person. It's bound to make your heart smile and be thankful you were blessed to know them. Absolutely, that is the best answer. Yes. I mean, you remember all the amazing things about that person, all the things that you guys did together, the fun times you had, the jokes that you made, even you reminisce on all the moments that you guys made while they were here. You don't have to you know what I'm saying, wallow in depression. it's like I said earlier, there's always a positive in every negative. You just have to find it. You got to search and
Share
find it.
them.
You know?
Share them with others.
Absolutely. Talk about it. Talk about it. You know,
That's okay. Talk about it. Hashtag. Got it. Hashtag talk about it. Yeah.
y'all know what it is. Y'all know what it is.
Hashtag. Yes, got it. Talk about it.
Well, hey, we're gonna go ahead and close up shop. As y'all know, I gotta pick up my son. His mom's calling me right now. Thank you guys so much, Carmen.
Thank you, David.
Joe, you know I love you guys. If you guys need anything from me, hit me up. Obviously, we are going to be back for part 3 on Monday at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. If you guys are watching and want to be a part of the conversation, hit me in my inbox. We'll bring you on and we'll talk about it. I think we're going to dig a little bit deeper and go from the mental illness to the mental warfare. When you're at that place where it's just over. What do you
Everybody
do? How do
you
get it? How do you get out of it?
Did it, yes.
So, hey, Monday. We'll see you guys on Monday. Thank you guys again for being a part of the conversation.
Thank you. See you guys.
Thank you.
Signing off. Have a good day. Peace.
Peace.